Hello, Painville Baptist Church, and those who follow us online. It's good to be with you yet another day. It's bright and sunny outside. It's getting pretty hot, and we got a little drought coming our way. So I pray that God will keep you in the midst of it all, right here in the middle of summer. But with that, we want to continue with our daily devotions through the Gospel Project Sunday School curriculum. We are in Unit 35, Session 3, and we are on Day 3. Today's devotion revolves around basically kind of the idea of reputation, what kind of reputation we hold, others hold, and obviously we're looking at Paul and his ministry toward the end while he's imprisoned and things are winding down in his life. And we are in Acts chapter 25, and the verses I'll read today is 22 through 27. I am reading from the ESV, and it says, "Then Agrippa said to Festus, 'I would like to hear the man myself.' 'Tomorrow,' said he, 'you will hear him.' So on the next day, Agrippa and Bernice came with a great pomp, and they entered into the audience hall with the military tribunes and the prominent men of the city. Then, at the command of Festus, Paul was brought in. And Festus said, 'King Agrippa, and all who are present with us, you see this man about whom the whole Jewish people petitioned me, both in Jerusalem and here, shouting that he ought not to live any longer. But I found that he had done nothing deserving death, and he himself appealed to the emperor. I decided to go ahead and send him. But I have nothing definite to write to my lord about him. Therefore I have brought him before you all, and especially before you, King Agrippa, so that after we have examined him, I may have something to write. For it seems to me unreasonable in sending a prisoner not to indicate the charges against him." According to the commentaries, they bring up the idea that there was several in this scenario that were worried about the reputations. Festus was worried about where and how he should judge Paul. If he sent him to the Jewish people, they would have put him to death. However, Paul, being a Roman citizen, wanted to go before Caesar, and as a result, Festus had an obligation to send him that way. In the meantime, the area that they were in, there was kind of a change of who was in authority, and King Agrippa comes in, and now he's interested in hearing what Paul has to say in regard specifically to Jesus, who apparently was dead and now is alive. So his interest caused him to tell Festus to bring him before Paul, before King Agrippa. King Agrippa was in a position to be able to say that he was either guilty or not guilty. He could have put him to death or set him free. However, I think he was more worried about his reputation too, and he was intrigued by this person of Jesus that Paul was talking about. So he wanted to hear the case, but I don't know. As a result, he didn't make a decision, nor did Festus. But Festus also wanted to be able to present the case to Caesar when he sent him to Rome. So there was a bunch of twists and turns here. But the commentary also speaks of Paul's humility. Paul could have very easily stood up and said, "Festus has proclaimed me innocent, and that there is nothing wrong in what I've been saying and teaching," and he could have made a scene there. However, he, like Christ, humbled himself, allowing the gospel to be able to do its work instead of making the focus about him. And that's kind of the question the devotion brings out today is, are you worried about your reputation? And if so, is it about you or is it about Christ? One of the things that came to my mind as I answered that is, though I think a person should be in good standing, especially in the role that I am in, I think I have an obligation to have a good reputation amongst our people here in the church and in the community. However, I think it's far more important how Christ sees me as compared to how mankind sees me. As a pastor, a Bible believing, conservative type pastor, I will definitely not always have a good reputation amongst less conservative, worldly people, and I may rub people the wrong way. May even have conflict within the church in disagreements as to how Scripture should be interpreted and how we move forward. But with that, I have an obligation to stand on biblical authority and what I believe is godly, because I owe it to God, not man, to have that reputation, that right sense of righteousness. But I also have to be very careful and humble in how I approach other people so that the gospel does not get closed off. It's very easy as a conservative Bible teaching pastor to cause doors to be closed if you say the things in a wrong way or you do not do it through grace and love. Sometimes it's just going to happen, but there are other times through grace and love, just as Christ showed love to those that were in need. It oftentimes will allow the door to actually be opened so that people will listen to you. But with that said, what is your reputation? Are you more worried about your status, or are you worried about how God views you? So with that, I pray God will bless you, and we will talk to you next time.